Hi, it's Therese from Lostinpaper, and this is a video by request. I made a card recently for the Altenew release and didn't make a video of it, and I was asked to recreate it. And in my usual style, I haven't done it exactly the same, but it's very, very similar, but I decided just to change up the colours. I've kept the main design pretty much the same, just so you can kind of follow along what I'm doing. So I've got some Bristol watercolour cardstock. This is the smooth surface one, and it's the first time I'm using this. I really like the feel of it. I used to have some Strathmore mixed media cardstock, which I really liked, and it feels very similar to that. It's got the vellum finish on the mixed media one, but I haven't been able to get hold of that in Australia. So this is probably the most similar thing to it, and this is the first time I've used it, so I'm still getting used to it. Okay, so what I'm doing here is watercolouring, obviously, and I'm going to be using my Zigs. So it's like a no-line watercolouring, which just basically means you use the stamp outline but have it very faded, so that when you colour it in, it's really difficult to see the lines. The lines still are there. It's not actually no lines, but it's kind of helps you have a guide to where you're going to colour. So I've used Ranger Archival inks, and I've used similar colours to what I'm going to be colouring with. The blue was the aquamarine blue, and I used brown on the leaves. I didn't want to go with the green. I don't know why, just something a bit different. But I did stamp these off before I actually stamped them onto my cardstock. So the images are a little bit difficult to see. So hopefully you can make them out. I'm using my Zig pens here and using a few of my usual techniques. So I haven't actually wet my paper first. I'm tending to either draw the pen directly onto the cardstock, then add a fairly dry wet brush. I'm just basically getting used to these Zig colours, and I know how bright they are, and I didn't want these flowers to be too bright, so I am being fairly cautious here. The second way I'm going to add colour is by adding the Zig paint to a clear block that you can see here, and then picking it up with my brush and adding it to the flower. I know the flowers don't look like much now, but I am doing them in layers, and that's the weird thing about watercolouring. I kind of get to a point and I think, oh, I'm going to chuck it, I don't like it. But generally I just let it dry, come back, add another layer, let it dry, come back, add some details, and you know, generally I get there in the end. I do like these Zig watercolour pens. What are they called? They're called Clean Colour Real Brush pens, and I have the set of 60, so I have lots of colours to choose from. I'm really enjoying the brightness of these colours, so I'm sure you're going to see some more from me as well, especially like once I get used to laying down the colour and using that as well. The great thing about these pens, and you'll see me doing it a bit later on on this card, is that because they have that fine brush tip, you can actually use that brush tip to add details. Like if I was actually using a paintbrush and having to pick up paint and then draw details, for me that's more difficult because I'm not an artist, and to actually have the paint come out of the pen and can just draw it directly onto my image, that's awesome. So I will list all the colours that I'm using today over at my blog, and the link will be in the YouTube description below. And I'm going to leave you with some music, and I'll be back when the colouring is done and dried. I did decide to use some distress inks in the background. I've mixed a few different colours here to get that kind of mottled look. Wet the paper first. Oh, obviously my image was dry. Wet the paper and then picked up the colour and added that. I also decided to add some ink spatters. This is the metallic silver. It's a Huey's misting spray bottle, and I don't even know if you can get these anymore, but it took ages to dry. In fact, I left it overnight. But I am working on my sentiment now, and this is from the floral frame set from Altenew. Just going to heat emboss this, white heat emboss this on some dark grey cardstock. Because it's a dark cardstock, I did prep it with some powder tool first as well, and then I can just cut that down to fit my image. It's going to be a similar layout to my original card here as well. I just want to peek some, this is a silver glitter paper out from beneath the sentiment, and I am using some score tape to do that because the glitter can be a little bit difficult to adhere things to, and I always know that score tape's going to hold it to anything. I love it. And I just thought I'd share with you that I did actually add some extra shading. This is just with a Prismacolor pencil. I wasn't really 100% happy with my shading on my image, and that's just a good easy way to touch it up without having to wait for everything to dry again. I have this window cut out of a piece of cardstock that's exactly the size of my card fronts, and I can work out exactly where I want my image to be on my card front. So I put a pencil mark on my card, and then I can just cut the panel down so that it fits exactly on the front of my card, and I use my ATG gun to adhere that on, and then I can pop up my sentiment piece with just use some black foam squares there. And I always like to use the grid lines on my mat to make sure that everything's nice and straight. As a final touch, I've added these are some icicle sprinkles and some metallic Pretty Pink Posh sequins, and that's it for my card today. I hope you've had fun. I'll be back again real soon. Till next time, happy paper crafting. Bye.